Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Here it is, a brand new year, a few weeks into it. And if you are finding yourself struggling a little bit, we're gonna say stuck. You have certain goals. You know that there's more for you in this world, and life could be okay. It's all good, but you're not getting there, and you can't figure it out. There's more out there for you, but you haven't really found the bridge to get there. Maybe you need to change your mindset. Maybe you need a coach. Maybe you need a mindset coach. We're going to talk with one today and kind of unravel this whole thing to find clarity and help you along with your journey. And good to have her with us today. Theresa joins us on the program. How's it going?
It's great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, good to have you here. And I hear this word mindset a lot, kind of like one of those buzzwords. And I have my own view of it. What's yours? What is the mindset?
Well, we're all manifesting our reality. So it's a matter of a lot of us are unconsciously manifesting. So we don't realize how much has been dumped on us from childhood and our limiting beliefs from our parents and our family. So when we get into adulthood, some people get stuck because they get stuck in those beliefs and they don't realize they're kind of running programs in the back of their mind. So I originally was a criminal justice major because I wanted to get into profiling. I then went into part of my master's in social work at Rutgers, and eventually got into sales. But it helped me just because I wanted to get out of my parents' house. Master's in social work wasn't going to pay the bills. So it really helped me. I wasn't expecting to get into sales, but I was just a great listener. People just come to me generally, feel comfortable telling me, pretty much anything. So it's just come naturally to me for friends. And then once I went through, getting out of sales and through my divorce and realizing, all my life lessons and stuff like that, I started to realize there was a lot of stuff that unconsciously was holding me back from what my parents and my siblings. And I had run into, my sister was writing a book. I ran into this woman that was writing a book down in DC, and I went down there with them and, took the course for life coaching. It was going back for my master's. So I figured I'd do a whole year of getting my certification to be a coach, just because I felt passionate about, with the trauma I went through, what I was experiencing, and, the people that were already coming to me, a lot of my friends that were going through divorces or just traumatic, either toxic work environments or toxic family members or just toxic exes, and some of them even toxic like lovers, and they just couldn't get out of it even if they didn't have kids. And I'm still amazed that I got out of my relationship with 3 kids, but it takes a lot of strength and courage to kind of go against some of those limiting beliefs that we've had and that are stuck in our mind.
You said something alarming in the beginning, and I don't think we realize this, and nobody ever says this. We talk about manifesting your future, all good. Well, I'm working on it myself. I got books, I study it, the whole principles, 369 Tesla, on and on and on and on. However, what you said, we are manifesting our future 24/7, whether we know it or not, whether we want to or not. That being said, you may be saying things to yourself in your mind, to others. That is your future. And we don't get it. We don't realize that we are doing it. And then, of course, it goes back to the subconscious. Your subconscious is listening to everything. And correct me if I'm wrong. This is my understanding.
Yeah, you're good.
I have no certification, no training. I barely even know what I'm having for lunch today. But it's that stuff that was in our childhood that is running on our subconscious. And when we say things, we're pulling those things out, and that's piloting how we act as adults. And we don't even know that we're doing it. We don't even know we're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why you see a lot of people until they go through a severe career change or stress event or major event, whether it's like a car accident or a divorce or something traumatic, family member or parent dying. It triggers them to start looking more within, and just, seeing what's coming up and seeing why they're repeating patterns that they're implementing. And that's also why I got into Reiki too, because, the more I uncovered it and the more coaching I did and the more people I was helping, it's really about those emotions. And sometimes people want to hold on to those emotions, and that actually can cause disease in the body. So it's a matter of really addressing it and seeing it and letting it release it, so that we're not holding on to things. Same thing with the patterns. We have to kind of consciously see the pattern, recognize it. It's just like an alcoholic. If they don't see the problem, they're not going to be able to fix it. So that's kind of the thing. Same thing with emotions. If we keep suppressing them, eventually, they affect us in the wrong ways. So it's a matter of addressing them. Why is this coming up? Not fearing it, and seeing why. It's usually bringing something up that we need to address and release, and actually see that something in our unconscious is bringing that to our awareness for a reason.
I call it connect the dots. And for me, it was awareness and learning and all of that and hypnotherapy. That's what worked for me. How do you, when you work with somebody on their mindset, connect the dots to those things from their childhood?
We'll usually do like an intro session, and we kind of uncover what they want to get out of it, because it's a little different than therapy. Therapy is just reiterating, and sometimes that can recreate the trauma because they're re-going over and over again, where we want to just see what it is, see what's holding them back, address those emotions as well as address those beliefs, and start creating either affirmations or, our thoughts as well as what we say to ourselves affect us. So if we say we can't do something, we can't do something. So it's really that simple, unfortunately, and people don't. They just say it over and over again. Oh, I'm never going to find that person. I'm never going to get that career. I'm never going to have that life I want. And it's really not about that. It's about really addressing why do you think that? Because obviously you can change that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's easy, because sometimes these patterns are over 20 years, 30 years old, but that's usually the more difficult thing. It takes a little while to really delve into it. Sometimes it can take a couple of years to really address some of those.
There's a lot going on here when you talk about the mindset, because we're sabotaging ourselves and we don't even know we're doing it by the thoughts that we have, our actions, obviously, but even the language that we use. Let's say you have a job interview coming up and you're heading into that and you're like, I'm never going to get this. It's just not going to happen. Like why would they even hire me? I'm not even qualified. Well, first of all, they're bringing you in for a reason. So they must think you're qualified. Number one. Number two, you thinking that it's not going to happen. Just back to what you said earlier. Yeah. You're manifesting it. You're asking the universe, you're asking your subconscious, do everything you can so I don't get this job. Guess what? You're probably not going to get it. You're going to screw it up. Something's going to happen. You're not going to present the way you should, because that's what you were thinking, right?
Well, yeah, and it's in their body posture, it's in their thoughts, it's the same thing. And I don't address, lying on your resume and all that kind of stuff, but you think about it, people that kind of embellish a little bit and have more of that charisma and that confidence going in, you always hear about like jobs don't hire someone who doesn't have the experience, but they do occasionally. It's just a matter of you having the confidence and going in. Not everyone, has the experience, but it does happen. It's really a matter of how you come off to people. It's a lot of how I learned in sales. You really have to listen, pay attention to body language, pay attention to, how that person is. And even sometimes I had to sit through one doctor, screaming at me for like 5-10 minutes until I just kind of was like, I'm sorry you're having a rough day. I'm here, maybe this isn't the right time, but, let me know when it is a time to come in and talk to you about improving, your sales or, whatever strategy. So, you really have to not take it personally. A lot of people project their issues onto others, and then we take it personally and we internalize it, and that can be, not a fun thing as well.
How about we focus on the language that we use, the things that we say to ourselves? And I've been working on changing it. Like, for example, I can't wait for tonight. I can't wait. I'm going to have this great steak at this restaurant. I can't wait. Well, to me, I'm saying to my subconscious, wait, as opposed to, I'm looking forward to that steak tonight at that restaurant. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, it is.
I want,
that being that intentional in your morning. Absolutely. Starting your morning off, starting your coffee off right. Sometimes it's a matter of like, I've got 3 kids. It's a matter of I enjoyed getting up early to have that kind of Zen time to myself before everything got chaotic. And it's just a matter of, then writing down your thoughts or, I'm big into meditation.
hmm,
Not that I get to do it every day, but I try to. And just being more intentional. When being in sales, you have to really have those vision boards. You're going to have your bad days, you're going to have your bad meetings, and just kind of building yourself back up to go into the next meeting. So it's really about, okay, that's okay. That wasn't the one that, and I mean, I've heard no so many times. It's just, sometimes it just doesn't get to phase you. You're like, all right, well, it's no today, but it doesn't mean it's no forever. It might be yes tomorrow, it might be
hmm,
yes next month, it might be yes a couple months down the road. But, you keep pushing at it, you're going to get what you want out of life. And I
yeah,
think people give up a little too easy.
agreed. And especially even in the sales, I don't do sales. Not my thing. Just gonna say, I kind of loathe it. It's just not my thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't like it. It was fun though.
yeah, but to your point, and I think it applies to most anything, is you didn't get the sale that time. Well, keep your positivity up, keep the same vibration up. We can talk about
Yeah,
energy as
love it.
well.
Yeah.
Be like you said, because if they're feeling it, it just didn't work at that moment. You might get a call 6 months later. Hey, you know what? We had some changes in our budget. Okay. Side note: I have a marketing company, and I'll
Oh,
speak with clients, and I don't sell them. I just provide creative solutions to what
okay.
they're looking for. It's almost funny how many times a client has wanted to meet, and I go in there in the past, different mindset, thinking,
Hmm.
"Oh, CRAP, they're going to cancel. That's it. Yeah, there, something's up here. Something." And I go in there with that negative attitude. It's never happened.
Yeah.
It never transpired. And I went in with one yesterday, and yeah, I was having an open mind. It's like they asked me to come in and talk, and I'm wondering, I wonder what they want to talk about. Maybe they want to make a budget change, whatever. No, they want to spend more.
See?
So it's like, why worry about it? All the stuff that we worry about, and it's been
A
surveys have
lot
been
of,
done. Like 90% of the stuff we worry about doesn't even transpire. You're
well, that's the
literally wasting
thing.
energy and time, right?
Yeah, it's wasting a lot of energy. And not only that, we kind of assume the other person doesn't want to spend as much, and we're envisioning that. And, you have to kind of let them walk you through because you never know. They're ready to, like you said, spend or add stuff on. So if you go in with that mentality that they're ready to cancel or they're ready to, reduce the amount they're spending, it really comes down to your mindset about
Yeah.
going in there and just being open. But I was more about building the relationships too. I mean, I really feel it's important to, build a rapport with people, make them feel comfortable as well. Because I never liked that sales approach either. And that's why a lot of my accounts loved me because they just knew I was there for them, even when I didn't get the sale or, when I was fixing some of their problems. And so, when it did come around, they were ready to call me and they, over other reps because they knew I wasn't going to be technically selling them, but,
Yeah,
really being that business partner for them.
exactly. So how do you stay positive?
Well, I have to say, it's been like the last 10 years. So I think it was like going through the divorce. I really got to the lowest I had. Just reevaluating my life. Wasn't happy with my career, wasn't happy with where my life was. Obviously wasn't happy in my marriage. And just had to really start looking deep within myself and stop blaming others, and start taking more control of, what I was bringing in, because a lot of it is in our unconscious is what we're bringing in and those lessons that are coming to us through other people. So, I really had to just evaluate myself and say, what is it about me? What unconsciously am I thinking that I'm bringing these, toxic patterns into my life?
Was it an aha moment for you?
It was, and it was a car accident with work that really triggered
Wow.
it
Is
too.
that oh interesting? Okay. Um, I agree with you with almost everything we're talking about, especially those call them the traumas, the big trauma. A big
Yeah.
event kind of shakes it up. So you're talking about a car accident.
It was the car accident and the divorce. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just being worried about my kids and, the future and, what I wanted to give them and what I wanted them to experience and, seeing things through their eyes. And, unfortunately, sometimes we have to really address, like our parents did the best they could, but they learned from what they learned from. Yeah, and it's about sometimes changing those patterns and
Sure.
being courageous enough to do that.
I'm a parent as well. And do you look at your kids and say, if I knew what I know now, I might have parented them differently then?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel bad for them going through the divorce and me, going through what I was going through. But I did, I did the therapy. I had my own coach going through it.
Sure.
I did acupuncture through it.
Hmm.
I really, really wanted to focus on them and making sure their mental health. So I'm big on also emotional intelligence because I think in our society we're all about intellectual intelligence, and it's great. I have a family that's very intellectually talented, and I guess smart, but it's just the emotional intelligence. Having that, and we call it common sense, but it's really about that emotional stability of seeing things for what they are and not overreacting to someone and an experience, and really just sitting back and saying, like, why is this happening? If someone's screaming in your face, like, is this really about me? Is this about them? And not adding to it and not really projecting and screaming back and making it worse. So that's my biggest thing, is really kind of creating that almost eye of the storm and seeing everything. And that's why, I'm big on Reiki and meditation. It's just seeing everything around you, but not letting it affect you. That's really how people need to master their lives, because there's so much chaos going on around us. Whether it's our jobs, whether it's, our kids, whether it's, stressing over bills or, not being where we want to be. And it's really just saying, okay, this is where it is, this is what's going on, but not internalizing it and knowing that we're taking that control back to really, it might not happen today, but again, we're working towards that goal.
I find it fascinating that you're a life coach. You get the mindset thing, but you also harness the power of energy. Obviously, if you do
Yeah.
Reiki,
Yeah.
and energy is it's everything. It really is, right?
Yeah. That's what people don't understand. Even money is energy. Everything is
Mm,
energy, and everything is. I'm a big proponent of just what you put out there and how you show others how to kind of be in life. It's not always easy, but it's really just being there, showing them that there's a better way, and just guiding them on their way to more of a peaceful mindset, a peaceful life. It's not all about money either. I'm not big on that either, but it's more of just having that peaceful lifestyle.
yep.
Um, and not being in these toxic jobs and feeling like you're stuck, or this toxic, relationship. And a lot of us do. We get stuck in, whether we had a toxic parents or we didn't. Sometimes we mentally bring in someone that because we just don't feel good enough. So
Mm.
it's
Oh, well,
sad.
okay. Let's go right there. That is like one of the classic things. Psychologists, psychiatrists will all say the same thing. Like, give me your
Yeah.
feedback. All of us, if not
Hmm.
most of us, feel that we are not good enough in some area. Or maybe overall, I'm just not good enough. I'm just not good enough for that. I'm not good enough for this relationship. That feeling of not good enough. Do you think it's probably one of the number one things that we're carrying around?
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that upsets me about where our society is. It's just people are so confused and in these relationships, and it's not really healthy. But it's them getting stuck in that, and that's where I see it. Like whether it's career, but definitely in life in general, and then not feeling confident enough to know that there's not just one person out there. There's lots of soul family. There's lots of options out there, and to get stuck on one person and to feel like that's it, and then kind of giving up on it. I've had a lot of friends that just got divorced and they're like, nope, not going to do it again, which I understand.
Mm.
But it's, we all, once we get hurt, we have to guard our heart for a little bit, but it's really, that's a lot of the emotional part of why I got into Reiki, because you realize that a lot of people need to release. Now I've done some Reiki on someone who was in 9/11. I've done someone who was in, 3 tours in Iraq. I've done one on someone that worked in Homeland. So it's really of addressing those emotions and feeling good enough and that confidence to know that, someone else is not going to see it, is going to see us the way we think we are. So if you're seeing yourself as that non-confident person, that's what you're going to bring into your reality. So once you get into your confidence and you know who you are, none of us are perfect, but it's really loving yourself, and then you're bringing that, equal love into your life. That person's not going to be perfect either, but
Sure.
it'll be a healthy relationship of give and take, and that knowing that no relationship is perfect. They all have to be worked on.
It's work. I hate you know what? Everything is work. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but hey, making plans for this weekend. What are you doing? Got to get people together. We're all going to meet. We're going to see a tribute band, whatever it might be. Guess what?
Yeah.
That's work. Everything is work. And right down to working on yourself, breath work, all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, look who just walked in. The younger
Uh-oh.
version of yourself. And they're right in front of you. What advice would you give them?
To not take everything so seriously, to laugh more, to enjoy life. And, I just try every day to be more intentional, but being more grateful and happy for the things that I do have makes more of those things come back into your life.
I would say the same thing. And also don't worry about what people think.
Yeah. That's another big one. It's people get so worried, and I think that's my biggest thing is teaching people that, people are unhappy in their lives. So why are you taking advice from them? Or you're taking advice from a friend that's having their own issues.
Right.
So
Right. You said a word before that resonates with me. And the word is peace. And tell me your feelings on this. The word peace, you don't realize you don't have it until you realize it. And then
yeah.
it's everything. It's, and you even made a mention about money and everything before.
Yeah.
Yes, we need what we need to survive and support our families and everything. It would be nice to have more. Do you need it? But you need peace. You feel the same?
Yeah, I think it's more about peace and harmony and not letting all those things affect us. And I think you hit it. Too many people are just worried about what everyone else thinks, and that's how they're living their lives. And I think a lot of people are going to get to the end of their lives and realize that they didn't live it the way they wanted to. And I think that's where I kind of look back. I still have my days where I don't, but you have to kind of take a breather when you have a bad day and just say it's a bad day. Start over the next day, but not letting others affect you is huge, because most people are not happy in their own lives, unfortunately.
Yeah. And once you realize all of the stuff, the mindset we're talking about, I find it's easier to reset. You do something called a mindset reset, but when stuff happens, and it will, you pivot over to this side and you move on, as opposed to letting it drag you down for the whole day. Like you could start your day with I spilled a cup of coffee, then that happened. Oh, it's going to be one of those days. Really? What else is going to happen next? If you're thinking that, something not so great is going to happen next. And like you said, we create our future. How do we connect with you? If this is resonating with somebody, if they're going through some challenges, kind of stuck in life, want to look at things a little bit differently, what's the best way to find you?
I'm on SusanTheresa.com. I'm also on Instagram under Mindset Reset 20, and I have 888 Minds 20, as well as my daughter got me on TikTok, so that's an interesting thing. But really, and I'm on Facebook as well under Susan Theresa, as well as the Mindset. So, I have a lot of people either recommend me after they've, I've helped them. I've family and friends. I've joined some international coaching groups, as well as, have a lot of friends that either do QHHT or, which is past life regression, or they do all kinds of different things as well as what I do. So it's really building that community. I eventually want to get a whole holistic center. I'm trying to work on with some other friends and just getting that, acupuncture, holistic, as well as, some aesthetics, and just really taking it into the future of, where we need to be health-wise. And I'm a big proponent of natural stuff as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've got my herbal sprays right here. I get what
So
you're saying.
I feel like that's, I know I lived in that pharma field, but it's, I'm really straightforward about, your health is your wealth too. Take care of yourself. So it's really important to take those days. And, so many people are stuck in that 9 to 5, just grind, grind, and then they're not realizing they're not spending the time with themselves, let alone their family.
Great talking with you. I love your vibe. You are like so grounded.
I'm pretty chill.
You are. But you also walk the walk and talk the talk. You went through some stuff. You realized what was going on there.
Yeah.
You found it impactful to work with others on the journey, and now you're doing the same. And by the way, I applaud you on locking down a website, Susan Theresa. I would think that would have been taken. You must have gotten that a long time ago.
I did. I think it was over 10 years ago. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, no,
Awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the time. I'm really was excited to talk to you and just get myself out there a little bit more. Sometimes I'm a little bit too much of an introvert. So.
Don't be. You're great. You really are. And I appreciate your transparency in telling your story because we learn from stories. I love hearing them.
Well, I think it's important because no one wants to learn from someone that hasn't walked the walk or hasn't experienced it. It's kind of hard to talk and help someone through something that you kind of haven't had and I feel like that's the lessons we learn in life is what we experience are things for a reason for us to help others.
That's a whole other podcast right there. Thank you so much for being here. It really is. SusanTheresa.com. Make the change. At least make a phone call. Start there. Thanks for being here today.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.